Hey guys, if you follow me on Instagram, then you've already seen this post, but today we're going to go over how we created this rosy brown balayage. Keep up to date on everything. You can follow me on Instagram at Christy@thecottage. Here's my clients before. The last service we did was a really pretty rose gold, so it faded to this nice caramel tone. So now we're going to retouch her balayage and give her a rosy brown color.
Okay, so my client that I'm going to be doing right now, the last time she was in, we did like a rose gold balayage, and I will link that in the description below because it was a really pretty color that I did. But her hair that it's faded out to right now is just this really pretty warm brown. So we're gonna keep going with that because that's pretty close to what she wants. So we're just gonna retouch her balayage and then tone her to be kind of like a warm rosy brown color. And I'm just gonna use my Schwarzkopf Blonde Me with 20 volume.
Because she already has such lightened ends and we already did a lot of the work at her first service, I feel like right now all we have to do is just basically do a partial and bring it up higher around her face. But also because she likes to be a little bit more natural and rooty, I'm not going to do any of the highlights directly around her face and around her hairline because she doesn't want to have to worry about grow out. So to start, we're just going to go through, do kind of like zigzag diagonal partings up the side of her head, and then we're going to go through and balayage. And I like to use a board, and I always do full saturation, especially when dealing with such dark hair, because to make sure we get nice lift, I don't want to just surface paint. I want to make sure that I'm heavily applying the lightener, saturating all the way through, and then I also use a foil to insulate to get better, more even lift. So I want to kind of lift just a little bit out of the warmer tone. We don't want to be too brassy. So that's why I like to insulate my balayage, because I want to make sure that we're kind of in that level 9. I don't want to be stuck at like a level 7, level 8. And adding some insulation really helps get better lift. So that's why I like to use foil. Another thing that you'll notice is that I started on one side, I immediately flipped to the other side, and now I'm going up to the next section and I'm doing my foliage, balayage here. And I like to switch back and forth to each side every section because I want to make sure that I get even lift. I don't want one side to process faster than the other side, and then, one side is already almost completely lifted and then I still haven't even started on the other side yet. So for me personally, I like to start on one side, do 1 or 2 sections, go over to the other side, do 1 or 2 sections, and then keep flipping back and forth. I like to be very meticulous and make sure that the color has balance and everything, and I feel like sometimes, especially when you're doing balayage, it's really hard to keep track of every single section that you're doing unless you're doing just the same thing over and over and over again in the same exact pattern in the same exact size. But I feel like that's just not realistic to do. Sometimes you want to do, a heavier piece of blonde or a really soft blonde, so then you're changing your partings or your section sizes. And I feel like to make sure that we're doing the same thing on both sides, I want to make sure that I am kind of flip-flopping back and forth between sides to make sure that if I'm doing a slice here in the same exact spot on the opposite side, I'm doing a slice versus, forgetting what I did and then maybe just doing a whole bunch of weaves and not a slice, and then now all of a sudden one side is a little bit brighter than the other. So that is why I personally like to go back and forth, work my way up to the top. That way I can make sure that it's lifting evenly and that I have nice balance, and then everything will process nicely at the same time. So I sectioned off her money piece that she does want to go a little bit higher up around her face and be a little bit brighter in that area. So I sectioned that area off, and then I'm going to be going directly off her part and going diagonally back off of the center. That way all of her hair naturally falls on top of any of the lightened hair, any of the balayage, because again, we want to make sure that we preserve a lot of her natural tone and that all of the balayage kind of falls underneath and she has a lot of movement with color underneath her hair, not necessarily a whole bunch on top. And that's going to ensure that as her hair grows out, she's going to have a really soft grow out and she's not going to have a heavy line of demarcation. Okay, now we're getting to the money piece, and I feel like the trend right now is to have a pretty thick money piece and a bold piece of brightness right on the face. However, she again doesn't want it to have bad grow out, so I kind of talked to her about, maybe doing some weaves and back combing and softening it at the root a little bit. Just that way, in 3 weeks, she's not going to feel like she has grow out and has to be back in here in a month from now, and she liked that idea a lot better. So we're still going to brighten her up quite a bit, but we're going to soften her at the root with her natural hair and just give her a little bit of a cushion with that back comb and weave it a little bit. That way some of her natural hair falls out and helps blend a little bit more. So we're going to take it pretty high. We're probably going to leave it about an inch from her root, and we're going to just do a few little sections, weaved or back combed, and that's going to give her some really nice brightness and feel like she has a lot of bright pieces around her face. However, maintain a lot of her natural root. That way it's really soft for growing out. And if this is the first time you've watched my videos, then I really like to go down exactly where they part their hair and do a zigzag. That way it'll make sure that no matter where her hair falls, she's going to have enough foils off center. So say if you just part the hair straight down the center, but if they happen to part their hair a few centimeters over, like generally the hair doesn't fall in the same exact spot every single time. So if you go directly off the same exact straight part that they came in with, then chances are when you style their hair, wash their hair, or they're at home, that maybe their part moves around a little bit. So I feel like if you do a zigzag, then that gives you a little bit of a leeway to be able to have a little bit of room for movement and have a little bit of space of have maybe like an inch of room for where the part will be at. So that way if some hair falls on this side or that side, it's still going to be even. So that's why I like to do a little bit of a zigzag down where they part their hair. Now we're in the back area, and we don't need to do a whole bunch because again, we want her natural hair to kind of fall on top. So we're just kind of doing some really soft weaves and back combing it and making sure that it blends really softly. That way she has a little bit of movement with color in the back of the head, but we're not trying to do like a whole bunch. So we're just going to do a few panels right here in this back section. For this little piece right here, as much as she wants her hair to be really natural and to not have heavy grow out, she does want to have some very fine pieciness kind of on top and having just a really subtle amount of dimension. So I'm just going to take a few pieces directly like in the mohawk area, and I'm going to back comb it, and we're going to paint that and take it probably up maybe like an inch away from her scalp, and that's gonna create a little bit of a soft highlight. When her hair parts, she's just gonna have a teeny little piece of more contrast kind of right in the top area of her hair. From the previous color that we had done with the rose gold, she feels like for the most part her hair has faded out really nicely and it is a really pretty tone that she's very happy with. But there are some areas where it's just still a little bit too brassy, so I'm just gonna go through and paint some of the ends a little bit just to try to break through some of that brassiness a little bit more. And here we are finishing up. We just did a few panels on each side, and this is all we did for her touch up, just really quick and pretty easy. And here's her lift. We're probably at like a level 8, 9, which is just perfect for where we want to be at. I don't want to be like super bright. I don't want to be stuck at like a 7, 8. So I think here at level 8, 9 is just perfect.
Okay, so my client is done lifting and she wants to tone a really pretty, like almost like a rosy brown beige color. So we're gonna mix for that, and I'm gonna use the new Agora Vibrance like what are they, like the desert sand colors that just came out. I don't know if I'm thinking of another line. But it's like 742 and it's like a beige ash color. So if you haven't tried it, it's really pretty. It's kind of a nice dusty tone, but because she wants a little bit more like a rosy color, I'm gonna add a little bit of the 668, which is like a chocolate red color, just a teeny little bit to warm it up a little bit. So we're going to mix for that right now.
When I say I only used like a little bit of the 668, I really just did a few drops of it just to warm it up just a little bit. And here you can see as we're processing some of that rosier tone starting to show through. So I feel like it was like just the perfect amount that we added in there. And I've had some people ask how I style my clients' hair, so I figured that I would do this process, the products that I use. I'm going to be including just her little hair trim that we're doing. A few people have asked about that kind of stuff too, or the comb out process, so I'm leaving that here in the video. Let me know how you guys feel about it, if you guys like watching this stuff or not, because I don't want y'all to get bored and click off my video, okay? So let me know how you guys feel about it. And I'm just going to let this part play. For her haircut, we're just doing probably like 2 inches off of the ends. And normally I would have my clients facing the mirror and I would be standing, you know, behind the chair completely. But just for the sake of the video so that you guys can watch the process, I turn the chair a little bit so you can see exactly how much I'm trimming. And we're not doing any layering. The only layering we're doing is just some facial framing. So it's just a really quick one length haircut, little facial framing, and call it good. By the way, I want to talk about the apron that I'm wearing right now. It says Hair by Christy, and then on the pocket it says Modern Blonde. So I have the sweetest girls that I work with. They had this special made for me because they're just really nice, and they're, you know, my coworker Noreen, who used to be my boss, was like, "You're just working so hard and doing such a good job," and she wanted to give me a nice apron because I know if y'all have seen my other videos, they were pretty jacked up. And bleached all over, and this is nice because it doesn't bleach out. But I also want to say that one of the gals that I work with has her own boutique where she like special makes like shirts and sweatshirts and whatever. So she made me this apron that says the, you know, all the writing on it. She knows I like the rose gold, so she added this writing with it. And I just want to give her a shout out because if you guys are interested in anything like this, she does great stuff. I've had it for probably like a month now, and the writing isn't wearing off or anything. So if it's something that you guys are interested, look for her on Instagram. You can find her at Rainy Day Co. So, or comment in this section below, and I can get you her Instagram, or I can actually put it in the description if that's something you'd be interested in. She does special orders and she ships and everything, so she could do that for you if that's something you would like to have. Okay, just to be exact, because apparently there's a few different Rainy Day Co. on Instagram, and I just want to let you know that because we're in Washington in the Pacific Northwest, her tag on Instagram is actually Rainy Day Co. with all underscores and then PNW. So just wanted to clear that up. If you wanted to check her out, now you have the actual tag Rainy Day Co. PNW. Okay, thanks. All right, look at how we're blow drying that hair. Look at that pretty brightness coming through the front. As it's starting to dry, you can see it lightening up a little bit more. I think that looks so pretty, and it doesn't really show the rosiness in the lighting where we're at. It just looks more, you know, caramely tone, but outside it definitely stands out a lot more. But yeah, now that it's completely dry, I'm going to show you guys how I curl my client's hair. And I asked her right now, because I'm booked out so far, that how did she like the tone? Is it what she wants? And she was happy with it, because I'd rather adjust it now if we have to than have her go home and call me within the week because she's not exactly happy with the color. So I'd rather just deal with it now than wait. And so I always want to make sure that my clients are happy. So I just ask them and want to make sure if we need to adjust it, it's no big deal. We can get to that right now. And my amazing boyfriend got me this curling iron. It's from Jay-Z Styles, and I love it because it has an extra long barrel. So it's really nice for curling either extensions or longer hair. So if you notice, I'll be using this a lot more now, and I actually really love it. It holds the curly nicely. I usually keep my temperature at around 320 or so. I don't want to go too hot and damage the hair or burn the toner out. So yeah, this is how I've been styling my clients' hair lately. I wanted to show you two different options for styling hair. So this is after she's been sprayed and completely cooled down. So if you like having your curl be a little bit more piecey, you can just kind of go through and finger through the curls. That way they're still pretty connected and in the exact curl pattern and just kind of tousled a little bit. But I personally like to go through and completely comb or brush through my curls, and this is what's going to create that really soft body wave. A lot of people ask me how I style my clients' hair. How do I get it to, like, you know, curl so nice and softly and have that really loose wave? So this is exactly how I do it. Just go through and comb your curls out and they'll all just kind of blend together. Just make sure all the curls are going in the same direction. And this is how I get that really soft, pretty wave. And it just, I think it looks so pretty this way. Ooh, that wave in the front. Son of a bitch, that looks so good. I wasn't expecting that. Like, whoa. Oh, so good. All right, how's the color look?
Yeah, it's good. I like it.
All right, now that we're outside, you can see that there's just a really soft hint of a rosy color to that brown. And we had to go outside so you can see it reflect a little bit more, but this color looks so gorgeous. I'm so excited with how it turned out. These rosy shades are really pretty. I think it's a really nice alternative to just having like the basic caramel highlights or caramel on dark hair. So thank you guys so much for watching. I appreciate you taking the time to watch my videos. Don't forget to like and subscribe.